What's up, lore masters? When we really sit down and take a look at the arc that explores the rise of Bajoran nationalism, we can honestly see some really great explorations in themes and how radical ideology can arise, as well as some exceptionally poor payoffs. Let's delve into this mishmash of a plotline. When I sat down and watched and then rewatched these different episodes, I found that I really loved the way the Alliance for Global Unity, i.e. the Circle, is introduced. It is, ironically, without much fanfare and with some annoyance. There are three different positions presented to us, curiously by O'Brien, Odo, and Sisko. O'Brien is confused, not really having heard of the group and not sure who they are. When he's told about them, albeit from a biased point of view, he's very put off and has disdain towards the group. To be fair, his first introduction is when they are using graffiti on the walls, which makes his job harder, so you can see why he wouldn't like them. Not even to mention that they want him to leave and go back home. Odo is largely dismissive. The Circle hit a low security area and was more a nuisance than anything else to him. They were rabble-rousers. They were trying to show that they could hit anywhere. Just thugs. Sisko takes it a lot more seriously, stating that he doesn't want any sections of the station to be low security going forward. He takes their presence on the station to be a great concern. It's worth noting here that all three of these perspectives and different ways of looking at the organization have a pretty fatal flaw. None of them consider engaging with the ideology or trying to understand how far it's infested. This just looks like a common problem that you shrug your shoulders at and increase security. And it's honestly intriguing to see this to me. At a minimum, Sisko knows the danger potential of the group on the station, and yet he, nor anyone else, ever really goes out and tries to understand the ideas and then counter them. Everyone just sighs and shakes their head. They double security to try to limit the damage of the troublemakers and keep it moving. So is it any surprise that this doesn't work and we have Bajorans begin to attack non-Bajorans, literally branding them? The uproar and bad thoughts would continue to move its way in, and those who didn't break the law would ultimately start to show a hatred or dislike of non-Bajorans, choosing to even keep their kids from interacting with others. And because of all this, here's a hot take that's going to make a lot of people mad, possibly unsubscribe. Are you ready? The people of Bajor, the fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, all of them, good people, normal people, rational people, had every reason to be deluded by and ultimately trust the Circle, an organization that was effectively a group of thugs, of racists, of murderers, of bigots. They were justified in supporting them. And the reason for this is not because of the triumphs of the Circle, but the failures of the heroes. The people of Bajor see the inadequacies of the government and its inability to take care of its people or even stop this low-level group. And then they see the alien emissary, the man who seems to be in the interest of his own people more than he is of Bajor. They look at Starfleet, which goes back and forth at how much it's going to interfere in Bajoran affairs. And even though Starfleet says they want to help, when the Cardassians come a-knocking, there's never a Starfleet ship there. They see all of these failures, and with none of those people speaking out against the Circle, and the Circle making gains and actually doing something, it makes sense to start to support them. The real problem with our heroes here is that they see the end result, which is quite obviously horrific, but don't address the base ideas these results are based on. Sisko, Kira, and others never really identify the root cause that is impacting all of this. Whether it's fair or not, a common consensus that we see begin to fester on Bajor is that Bajor's got the wrong end of the stick, that they had done nothing wrong and were consistently being oppressed or passed over by non-Bajorans. Their entire lives are, in one way or another, being impacted by a people that didn't have their best interests. Now note, this may or may not be true. It really doesn't matter what the fact is here. It matters that people feel this way. And with a populace that has this emotional concern, it's logical that they would be drawn to those who actually want to address it. We see Sisko and others lament the process but never talk about it to the people whose minds are being changed. Imagine if Sisko, or more preferably Kira and Leonalis, discussed how important the Federation was and how they aren't the Cardassian. How they discussed Bajorans weren't being displaced at this point. How they would admit, yes, there may be some issues and in the past may have been some wrongs, but that's not right now. They make a plea for people to have a public conversation to show both sides. But by not doing this, by choosing to stay quiet and let things occur, To continue to try to arrest people who support the Circle and deplatform them, it only causes an escalation until the nationalists can't be ignored, and arguably at this point, can't be stopped. With the Circle effectively staying underground and working in the shadows, it's hard to tell who does and doesn't agree with them. Due to this, the ideology slowly begins to make its way into the government, religious orders, and military. And we even see the red flags in the episodes. We see that our heroes note that there are troop movements that don't make a lot of sense. The local police force seems to be unable to find anybody when crimes are being committed, and there's rumors that this terrorist organization is being supplied with weapons. And after wringing their hands and basically doing nothing, they ultimately would have a very real problem when the Alliance for Global Unity appears to be taking control of the government and Starfleet is forced to relinquish the station. Stay tuned as we discuss the Bajoran Nationalists' capture of Deep Space Nine and how Trek missed the chance to teach us all how to defeat radical ideologies. I'll see you guys on the next Lore Reloaded.